Welcome to Living in Tucson, your Tucson real estate connection. In this episode, I'm going to go over the basics of doing a 1031 exchange. And lately, I've been having a lot of people reach out to me wanting to do and learn about 1031 exchanges. So we're going to dive on into it. I'm going to keep it simple and just go over the basics of a 1031 exchange. Over the years, I've done a couple 1031 exchanges myself. I've also sold a couple of my own properties, multifamily properties, to other investors doing a 1031 exchange. And then I've also helped clients and represented them when buying a property on a 1031 exchange. So I've got some experience in this category. The one thing I'm not here to do is give you tax advice. And when doing a 1031 exchange, it's really important to understand your tax obligation in terms of when you sell a property and really understand whether or not a 1031 exchange makes sense for you. I've seen so many people within a 1031 exchange be rushed and make a poor decision. At the end of the day, it's cost them more money to do a 1031 exchange than it would have been to sell the property, pay the taxes, and then take their time and invest it wisely. So again, a 1031 exchange is great. A lot of people use a 1031 exchange in order to preserve all of their capital and their profits so they can roll it into the next property without having to pay any taxes. So it's a great strategy, something I highly recommend. But again, I'm not here to give you tax advice, and I'd recommend that you reach out to your accountant and really understand the tax ramifications of comparing whether it makes sense to do a 1031 exchange versus selling a property and just paying the capital gains. When doing a 1031 exchange or a real estate transaction for that matter, you want to look at yourself, the buyer / investor, as the captain of the team, and you want to surround yourself with really, really good people and put together the A team. And so in doing that, there's a couple key people when doing a 1031 exchange. You want to look at your realtor that's going to help you find the perfect property, more or less as the quarterback that's going to help facilitate you and connect you with the right people. You've got your running backs, somebody like the escrow officer or the QI, the qualified intermediary, that's going to help to assist in the 1031 exchange, which I can help you with. And then you've got inspectors and people that are going to help do some of the fix up. Those are more your linemen. So again, your job in the whole process is being the captain of the team, surrounding yourself with really good people that are going to help you make the right decision. And one thing, I'm not as the agent, I won't pretend to know everything. So again, I like to point people to the professionals in their area and never pretend that I know everything. And if there's something that I don't know, I'll certainly let you know and point you in the right direction. So again, really important when doing a 1031 exchange is to surround yourself with the A team and put together a really good team of people that are going to help facilitate the process of doing a 1031 exchange. First off, I want to start off with what is a 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange is a tax-deferred way to sell an investment property and roll the gains into another property and not have to pay capital gains on the sale of that property. The 1031 exchange process and how it works. First, the exchanger signs a contract to sell the relinquished property to a buyer. Second, the exchanger finds a qualified intermediary called a QI and enters into an exchange agreement to retain the qualified intermediary to handle the 1031 exchange. At the closing of the relinquished property, the exchange funds are wired to the 1031 exchange company hired. The exchanger has a maximum of 180 days to acquire and close on the replacement property. The exchanger must identify possible replacement properties in writing to the exchange company within 0 to a 45-day period. Day 0 is the closing date of the relinquished property. The exchanger signs a contract to purchase the replacement property with the seller. Exchanger assigns the exchanger rights in the purchase contract to the exchange company exchanger selected. At the closing of the replacement property, the exchange company wires the exchange funds to the escrow company to complete the exchange. The exchange company instructs the escrow officer to transfer the deed directly from the seller to the exchanger. When hiring your 1031 exchange company and your QI, it's really important that you do your homework and go with somebody that's very reputable. The industry's not regulated, so anybody can be a QI, and it's really important, again, that you do your homework and find somebody really important that's licensed and bonded. And the big reason for this is that when you sell your property, the proceeds of the sale are transferred to the exchange company, the QI, that holds on to the proceeds until you close on your new property, and then they wire the funds to the title escrow company to close on your new property. So again, it's really important that they're licensed and bonded, so your money's secure, so you can sleep at night knowing that the money's going to be there when you go buy the new property. So again, do your homework. We can help you and point you in the right direction and refer you to some really good exchange companies that are going to do a great job for you. When doing a 1031 exchange, you want to avoid making these common mistakes. And the first mistake is missing the milestones. It's really important that you hit the milestones, and there's two big ones. And again, I talked about it. You want your A team in place. They're going to help you meet those milestones. And the two big milestones are you got to identify 3 properties in the first 45 days, and then from start to finish, you've got to have everything done in 180 days. So having a good team behind you is so important. And the other big mistake that I've seen people make, and this is a costly one, is that a 1031 exchange is great. It serves its purpose. You avoid paying capital gains. But at the end of the day, because of the time constraints, I've seen people time after time make poor decisions and buy a property that ends up costing them more money than it would have if they would have just paid the capital gains, the taxes, and then been patient to find the right property. So if you're feeling rushed, it's really good to make sure up front that you reach out to a tax professional to understand what your capital gains are. So when it comes down to crunch time, you're able to make an educated decision based on weighing whether or not it makes sense to pay the capital gains or not. But if your capital gains are significant, it definitely makes sense. But a lot of times the capital gains aren't significant enough to warrant doing a 1031 exchange, and it can end up costing you a lot more money than if you were to have just paid the taxes. So those are some common mistakes. But again, reach out to us. We'd love to help you in order to help you avoid many of the common mistakes that people make. If you're an investor out there selling a property and want to do a 1031 exchange, I would love to help and point you in the right direction in terms of establishing your A team in order to get the job done. And a lot of people reach out to me. Some are local to Tucson that are selling in Tucson and buying in Tucson. Then I've got a lot of people outside of Tucson that are selling a property in another state and then moving that money to a property here in Tucson. But if that is you, I would love to help. But again, hope you got value out of this video. I tried to keep it simple. There's some more sophisticated ways to do it. And again, I can point you to a really good 1031 exchange person that can go deep into what it is that you're wanting to do in order to put a game plan in place for you. But if you like this video and got value out of it, do me a huge favor. Give me an internet high five by liking it. If you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and comment below. And for more awesome videos about living in Tucson, your Tucson Real Estate Connection, you can subscribe to the channel. And every time a video goes out, if you hit that bell button, you're notified. In the meantime, make it a great day.